Good morning and welcome to In Touch. In Touch is our weekly half-hour public affairs show. And that means that if you are a nonprofit group or organization here in the Hudson Valley, if you are a company here in the Hudson Valley helping out a nonprofit group or organization, we'd love to have you on the program to talk about what is important to you, issues that you're concerned about, steps that you are taking, or steps that you'd like to see taken. So at the end of the show today, I'll give you all my contact information. So let me tell you, as I turn on the microphone, this is pre-recorded. I will also tell you that at the time of recording this program, we are having some heating work done in the building. So while Carolyn and I shiver a little bit, the more important reason for bringing that up is that you may hear some pounding. It is not us in the studio.
It's not our teeth chattering.
No. I just wanted to let you know that they are going to be working on some of the duct work. So, like I said, it is pre-recorded, so some of that happened. So Carolyn Torella is here. She is the Regional Communications Director in the Hudson Valley American Heart Association. And I had to ask her, even though I've worked with Carolyn, I had to ask her what her official title is. I never want to mess that up.
It's a lot of words. I know. It's hard.
So Carolyn and I, if you, whatever station you're listening to this morning, if you go to their website and you, in the keyword box, which when you get on the site is on the right-hand side, kind of towards the top, and you put in the American Heart Association, if you put in even AHA, it will bring up some different articles, including the one that I wrote last week after I saw Carolyn for the first time in a few months. It was the Kickoff Luncheon for the Duchess Ulster Heart Walk. And I did a post on that and our honorees. And I know we're going to talk about that today and a lot of other things. So, Carolyn, thank you very much for just even last week being willing to get in here this week.
Thank you. Thank you for having me in here to talk about Heart Association, wonderful stuff that we have going on. And thanks for hosting as an MC at our kickoff event last week. We're always really grateful for the support of the American Heart Association by companies locally and organizations, especially media that help us get the word out because we really can't pay for it. So, having you on board at Town Square Media, we just love you guys. So, we had the kickoff and it was really great because we had this year 2 youth honorees, which we don't always have.
In the third grade, right? They're both in the third
they're like
grade.
8 years old, and they met each other. The moms actually worked together, and they had their babies just a few days apart. And then both of them were both of the children were diagnosed with congenital heart defects. So, and it's always wonderful for parents, especially with kids with congenital heart defects, that they have support because it's such a traumatic situation to be in, regardless of the diagnosis or the outcome. It's just a shock to your system. Why is this happening? But thankfully the kids are okay, and because of science and research and advances in treatment and procedures, these kids are living healthy, active lives. And you saw them, you met them.
Oh yeah,
you wouldn't know.
You would have no idea
Nope.
the severity, the amount of surgeries that they've had. The like you said, the heartbreak. No matter what it is, you have a healthy child, and 1 second, and the next second you're told that no, you don't.
Right.
And this is what this means.
Right. And Madison Daly's, they're both of Kingston, these 2 children. Her mother was told when she just went for a routine ultrasound that her baby had heart defects. And then as it went on, they determined it was tetralogy of Fallot, which is 4 heart defects at the same time, which all have to be remedied. You can't just live with them. You have to have them fixed because otherwise the baby, heart isn't pumping well enough to get oxygen to the body. So it's really important. So she had her surgeries just, within the few months, and then she had another one, a few days after birth, and then she had another one at 8 months old. But now she's like, great, but she will have to have further procedures and further, and always constant evaluation and treatments. And then Matthew is different. He has a heart murmur, and then he had congenital heart defects with his valve, and also his aorta has like a small aneurysm on, which is like a thickening in that one spot of the aorta, which could become weak. So they constantly have to monitor him. So he's fine. He didn't need surgery, but he'll have to constantly be watched. Yeah. And he also can't have activities like contact sports where he might get hurt. So their lives are forever changed, but thankfully they're here today and they're going to be our honorees to show that because of science and research and awareness that we know that these children can survive and live a wonderful life with their families.
Which wasn't the case.
No.
And not that long ago wasn't the case.
That's
I mean, that's what's amazing. And I thought of that when I sat in the luncheon and I heard the moms tell their stories. And then Madison and Matthew got up and which was very sweet, they're passing the microphone back and forth and they're talking about the sponsors, for the walk and everything and, helping with enunciating words. And, when there's a little person who's 8, there's some big words.
Right.
And you look at this and I'm moved by a lot of things. Number one, I think it takes a lot of courage for folks to get up in a microphone.
Right.
Anyway.
Yes.
Let alone these 2 little people who we just have heard their story and we're all a little teary-eyed.
Right.
And they're up there and they're passing it back and forth. And Madison, there was a point where she's like, I'm not reading that word.
Right. She's like, that's a long word.
I don't even know what that is. And your heart just goes, oh, look at those guys. Here they are. Here they are, and they're sharing a microphone, and they're talking about it, and they're going to be at the walks, and look at what they have done.
And they're just regular kids.
And
Like
they're regular kids.
And they get to live their lives. So, it wasn't even just a few years ago, the American Heart Association, through our advocacy work, grassroots advocacy campaign called Youre the Cure, we were able to pass in New York State the pulse oximetry law with great support from Hudson Valley representatives and leadership. Actually, the bill sponsors were from the Hudson Valley. And, that law ensures that all babies who are born in New York State will receive pulse oximetry testing, which is really like if you've ever been to the doctor or the hospital, they put this little clip on your finger and it measures the blood oxygen. That simple, like $10 test can determine right when the baby's born within the first 24 hours if they have some possible heart issues. So, and it could be detected then before they leave the hospital and something bad happens. So that law was passed. Now, that law, even though most hospitals have had that procedure in place in their own hospitals, not every hospital had it because it wasn't mandated. And we do know of a mom, unfortunately a family that lost her baby down in Rockland County because, and as recently as just a few years ago, before the law was passed, she became one of our staunch reporters, Patty Stone, and she helped get the bill passed. So we know that this is life-saving stuff that's going on, but we were so happy to have them there. And really what they were doing was kicking off the inspirational, motivation for people to join the Heart Walk, which is our kind of biggest local fundraiser that Town Square, of course, supports. We're so grateful for that, and really, it's a kind of a year-round campaign to get people active, because we know that the American Heart Association recommends that by walking 30 minutes a day, most days of the week, so at least 5 days a week, that you can improve your heart health or maintain it, and just that little walking really does help your arteries, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar levels, which all impact your risk of heart disease or stroke. So just that simple thing, like walking and eating healthier. So that's what the campaign is about. And the Heart Walk is really a celebration of a year-round campaign and commitment by companies and their employees to get healthier. And it's also, of course, a fundraiser. So people locally can join as a team or just individuals or with their companies or organizations to join the Heart Walk. And they could register online, and I'm sure you have the link online. It's DuchessUlsterHeartWalk.org. And they can also, call our office at 867-5378, which I know is that funny number from the song, right? 867-5378. So I'm not going to sing.
Don't confuse. Yeah, don't confuse.
I'm not going there. But that's a great campaign and to get involved. It's so fun, and it's a great outing with your employees and your colleagues to just go out and walk for the Heart Association and for healthy hearts everywhere.
And this year it's a new location.
Yes, we have a new location.
Duchess. It's in Ulster. It's still at SUNY New Paltz, which is last year. It was the first year.
That's right. Yep. So this year we've moved from Vassar College over to Marist now. So we're over closer to the river. We're excited to use that beautiful campus as well. And Marist has a team, and they walk with us. And this, what would be nice about this one is that the students will be on campus during this walk.
Oh, cool.
So we're hoping to have a lot of participation from the college students as well, because we know that really heart disease starts in the young. So we want to get young people and kids and teenagers and young people on board with heart health early on to prevent it before it becomes a critical factor later in life.
Now that date is what, March 25th?
Correct, for March 25th for the Marist Poughkeepsie one. And then it's April 2nd at SUNY New Paltz.
Okay.
So you have two great opportunities to join the American Heart Association. It goes towards the same goal. And we're so happy to have Vince Amodio as our chair from M&T Bank. He's his second year now. So he's excited. He walks with his family every year. So it's great to see him at both walks, which is nice. So we like exercise, really, it's the magic pill. It's really what gets you going. But also, another way to do it is eating healthier.
Yeah.
And the American Heart Association launched a campaign just the end of last year called Plus Color, which is really a simple campaign to get people to eat more vegetables and fruit every day. Because we know that when you put that on your plate first, it squeezes out some of the unhealthier stuff.
Right.
And so, right now I'm doing some media stuff around the big game coming up. Everybody's excited about the big game, the football game.
Yes, and there is what we call in our house snackies.
Yes.
That need to be a little better.
Right. And we know that people love their snacks. Like, it's really about the food, right? And, when I go to parties, it's really about the food. Nobody is watching the game.
And the commercials.
And the halftime show. It's really not about the sport at all. So, but that's great.
So bad.
That's what's great about it. Is that you can enjoy it in so many different ways.
That's true.
We can enjoy it in so many different ways longer
Yes.
if we eat healthier today. So we've come up with some strategies to help people, change their recipes just a little, like tweak them. Like, we know everybody likes buffalo wings, and they're just like one of the fattiest snacks you can have. So, limit them, in small amounts. So have a couple and then have salad next to it, or have more vegetables than the chicken wings. Or even you can make chicken tenders with buffalo sauce on it,
which is better.
Which is better. You could put that on a salad. You could broil the chicken instead of frying it, so that eliminates some of the fat. And then you could use low fat blue cheese dressing, which you really don't miss. Like, it's the same flavor. You really, side by side.
You don't.
You don't miss it. You just put it in there, and you're eating, watching the game. You're not even going to notice. Even in science, they study how you lay out your buffet. So if you're having a party and you lay out your buffet, how you lay it out affects what people choose in terms of health. So if you put the plates at the left end of the buffet, say, and right next to it, you put salad, and you put cut vegetables or fruit kebabs, or a whole grain salad with vegetables in it, like spinach or something, quinoa, that people will choose the healthier items on average because you force them to by putting it closer to the plate. Because they're not going to walk past everything and then be like, no. Oh, there's my healthy, unhealthy stuff.
Yeah, they don't want to hurt the
Right, there's a peer
feelings.
pressure to get the first stuff first and then go on the way. So what have they done is manually created a healthier plate and then put the unhealthier snacks at the end. But also to use just, common sense. Just limit your quantities and your portions and choose mostly healthy and a little bit of the fun stuff at the end. But there's so many ways, even just knowing portion sizes, like meat, is a portion size for that is 4 ounces, which is about the size of a deck of cards. So if you think about, like, don't have a giant steak, have a deck of cards size steak, have a leaner piece, have fish, instead of the fattier stuff, or just have grains and vegetables is beautiful, light, healthy snacks.
And like you said, substituting ingredients in recipes can be a very easy way.
Yes.
And people really, they don't know.
Right.
I mean, unless you put a card that says, attention, this has been this, and this, and then people's expectations kind of are like, well, this is not going to be good. But I've done that with things in my family that they never knew. Like, they were never the high calorie.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong. We have some of those high calorie.
Yes, I'd be guilty. Yes.
I am not saying that I am perfect, but I am very proud of a couple of recipes that my family has come to know and love at every holiday have always been with the low-fat yogurt in it as opposed to something else. So
mayonnaise.
I feel like I just kind of snuck that in, but again, I have some of the others.
And they have so many low-fat, low salt. Good for you. You've done it. You've done it. You get an award. But they have so many great tasting low-fat, low-sodium, low-cholesterol things that you don't even notice, like low-fat sour cream, fat-free Greek yogurt is such a beautiful substitution because the creaminess of that, no one notices at all.
Nobody.
Especially in dips. People love dips.
That's it.
That's
the thing.
That's an easy one. Low-fat cheeses, low-sodium crackers, whole grain crackers. Like, instead of putting chips out, if you put whole grain baked pita chips, that's really nice, like for a spinach dip made with Greek yogurt. That's an easy swap. No one's going to complain because they still get the crunchy.
Yeah.
And they get the creamy, but they've eaten whole grain. Now they've eaten vegetables. If you're having a soup or a chili, use turkey. Use low-sodium tomato canned products like low-sodium broth, low-sodium tomatoes, and then add in extra vegetables like cubed squash is a beautiful addition to a turkey chili. And it has the same coloring, and it just makes it so much more vibrant, but it's tasty too. Or beans like chickpeas. All the beans are good to use the low-sodium versions of those and rinse the beans before you put them in.
Right.
So, and then also, alcohol. Alcohol is empty calories. It really has, just limit it in quantity.
It doesn't do anything.
We don't really, We're like, we know that red wine can help, but, if you don't drink it, don't start. If you do have it, then have a little, And also, adding seltzer to any of those drinks can help lighten it and eliminate half the calories, which is nice. But it still gives you the bubbly, taste, which is nice. But we have tons of recipes online at heart.org/recipes, and they're all free. And if you're someone who doesn't cook, and a lot of people, don't have that skill set, anymore. We know that through science and research that you can get some very basic cooking tips on our heart.org/recipes site through our Simple Cooking with Heart Walmart campaign. So there's videos on there, and you can learn about healthier ingredients. And
nice.
If you just go into the fresh produce section, you could find a new vegetable to eat every day of the month, and you would never have to repeat it. Like, healthy doesn't mean necessarily eating salad every day, because that's boring for people, right? There's squash, there's chard, there's all kinds of beans and, produce, tomatoes, and just all the beautiful things. Even in the winter, we have so many choices.
Yeah, we're really lucky
to get. Yes, we do. And
Very lucky.
and the frozen ones are wonderful, because they pack them typically right at the farm site. So even frozen has a lot of nutrition, but canned goods definitely aim for the lower sodium versions of those. So there's so many choices. You really don't have an excuse why you couldn't eat healthier for this, big game. Or anytime, so just to incorporate. It doesn't have to all happen at once either. Small changes over time really can add in. Once you've incorporated one change into your life, like drinking more water and less of the sugary stuff, less alcoholic drinks, can really make you lose weight, make you feel better.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper.
And I put
opening up that tap.
I put butternut squash in macaroni and cheese.
Yes, that's beautiful. And
that cuts it.
Yes, but it's such a
there's
nice
still cheese, but it cuts it.
Or cauliflower.
Yeah.
People are doing all kinds of stuff with cauliflower.
I know,
Pizza
crusts.
Pizza crust. They're mashing it up instead of potatoes. They're putting it in stuff. I love roasted cauliflower with garlic and a little olive oil and a little crushed red pepper on a whole grain pasta. It's beautiful. Yeah. And it's so satisfying because you get the caramel taste of the garlic in there with now I'm hungry.
Okay. And we are recording this at noon, so I should just...
We are very hungry right now.
This is pre-recorded. Okay. All right. Our stomachs are growling. Okay. So...
Right.
What else do we have?
Well, February. February is such... we try to own that month. It's Heart Month. It's American Heart Month. And during Heart Month, we aim our messaging really towards women, because women still don't know that heart disease is their number one killer. And we can't say it enough. Heart disease kills more women than all forms of cancer combined. All forms of cancer combined. So, when you think about it, you really, as a woman, have to be thinking about preventing your number one killer. And how do you do that? Well, by the steps we just talked about, eating right, exercising every day, but also knowing your numbers and your family history. Because, we've talked to cardiologists, and they say, if you have heart disease in your family, you should really be coming to see us 10 years before your family member had that heart incident or stroke, because then we know we can get on the prevention side of it and start you with, lifestyle changes or medicine that can help prevent it. Because you don't want to end up in the emergency room with a heart attack. You don't want to have open heart surgery. You don't want to have a debilitating stroke. No. You want to prevent it before you ever get there. And isn't it easier to go for a walk and eat healthier foods, or even just take a pill to reduce your blood pressure or prevent your cholesterol from sticking, than it is to have the traumatic side of it, which is in the hospital. You want to avoid that at all costs, obviously. Any family who's gone through that will tell you, yes, if I had to go back and do it again, I'd quit smoking. I'd eat more. I'd exercise more. So that's the message we want women to know, that their number one killer, heart disease, is preventable. And we want women to sign up at goredforwomen.org. And our big day, kind of where we really help to raise awareness, is National Wear Red Day, which is the first Friday of February every year. And, news anchors turn red, their shirts and stuff, just to raise awareness. We have landmarks going red. The FDR Mid-Hudson Bridge will turn red with us again.
Oh, nice.
So that's really nice. But then, hundreds of organizations are also going to join Wear Red Day. They have heart-healthy lunches. They go for a heart-healthy walk. They turn their buildings red with lights. They hang red hearts everywhere. Adams in Poughkeepsie is one of our biggest supporters, and they sell the red hearts.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll see them, as January and February move on, you'll see all the hearts growing there at the Adams in all their locations. So we're so great for their support and for people who purchase the hearts. So there's so many ways really to get involved with it. But signing up online is a really great first step. Go redforwomen.org and then just go Wear Red Day. And you'll see all the information there. So even right now, you can still sign up and get free resources for you.
Okay, cool.
For Wear Red Day.
Okay.
And that's, we really, like I said, we want women to know that they can prevent the number one killer, but that they have to get ahead of it and not ignore it and go to their doctor's appointments. Especially now, use that free preventative appointment now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really, really important. And, but also to get involved with our Heart Association grassroots efforts, which we talked about, the pulse oximetry. The Youre the Cure is really such a powerful network of volunteers. and this, past year we've all talked about grassroots efforts and getting our voice out and stuff. And just recently across the river in Orange County, we worked with the health department and some legislators there to create Tobacco 21 legislation, which is to raise the smoking age of buying tobacco products from 18 to 21, because we know for a fact, because science shows us, that just doing that can actually reduce, youth starting smoking down to like 2% in areas that have 21 age as opposed to 18. So Orange County is on board with it, and tonight we're having actually tonight will be after the fact. Right. So this week,
This week,
there will have been a hearing and hopefully passage of this law in Orange County. And we know that 6 other counties around the state have already passed it. And as these dominoes start to fall, we hope that we get statewide legislation. But you can help that by just joining Youre the Cure and signing up. You get action alerts sent to your email. You just click on those.
Oh, nice.
It's like
okay,
2 clicks.
Youre the Cure.
Yep, Youre the Cure. Youre the Cure. And .org. And you sign up there with your address and your zip code and everything, and then it'll put you in touch with your representatives as legislation comes up.
Oh, cool.
And it's 2 clicks. You click on there, and then you say, click send my email. And now you've done it. You can attend our lobby days with us. We have 2 lobby days in the spring usually on different issues. We'll be focusing on, again, the Tobacco 21, but also stroke legislation to help get a more comprehensive stroke system of care in the state, which is... It's a big piece of legislation, so it kind of moves kind of slowly, but we have to start somewhere, and we move it along. Every little click helps us. So
and everybody's voice counts.
It does.
I mean, I think that in this past election series, there were some people like, "Well, I'm not going to voice my opinion. I'm not going to do that." No,
right.
No.
Yes.
No. Everybody's voice,
exactly.
no matter what, counts. And and when you talk, Carolyn, about yourethecure.org. When you look at the facts, when you look at how it has impacted your family, when you look at how it has impacted your circle of friends, and to know that here is something that you can do at your computer, hopefully after you've taken a 30-minute walk.
Yes. While you're eating your salad.
Thought I'd throw that in there. But you can go on and you can click and you can get in touch and you can know what's going on.
Right.
And being informed is so powerful no matter what it is that you're talking about. That you get the facts, you get the real information, you really know what's going on. Like you said, it's backed up by science. When you look at this Tobacco 21, of what that can do and how many lives can that save and how many families will not have to suffer that awful, heartbreaking. So that's very, very powerful.
And and we know that it's powerful, and it works in New York State, like we said, with the pulse oximetry law. But even just a few years ago, the CPR in schools law is now a law. Now, that legislation took us 18 years to pass. That is a cart moving slowly on the tracks. But, we couldn't have gotten it to the finish line if it weren't for the Youre the Cure advocates who came every year for Lobby Day, who sent thousands of emails across the state, survivors who came, families who lost someone because there was no one there to do CPR. We wouldn't have passed it. And now, what is it? 190,000 students every year will graduate with CPR skills now because of that law. So even in just 5 years, imagine the exponential increase of CPR knowledge in our community. That is going to save lives. And it's such an easy skill. So we know that Youre the Cure works. We know that advocacy efforts with grassroots campaigns work. But, we need people to come on board with us and help. And we wouldn't get legislation together. We wouldn't be promoting it without the basis of science. Nothing comes to our table if we have a weight of science behind it at the American Heart Association. So we hope you join us in that regard, or Wear Red Day, or any of the heart walks coming up, because we know that these few things are really going to help save lives in the community.
And what I said, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, the thing that I love what you said is that, we don't come to the table with anything unless there's science backed. And I think that is one of the reasons why when you donate to the American Heart Association, when you raise funds for it, it goes where it needs to. It goes to research, because there's already been research where where a problem is.
Right.
So it's not like when you're raising money kind of going, well, I don't know, maybe it's here, we'll give a little money over here, and maybe we'll do over here. Right. There's already been work done, so where it needs to be. Where these the development is in those areas. Where research says, wow, if we could train kids in schools, look what we could do. Right. Monies went to that.
Right.
I mean, my mom had a heart scare right after the new year. Of course, no one calls me while it's going on. Now, to their, they are 8 hours away, so it's not like I'm right down the street, and I
Right.
get that. And my mom, when I answered the phone, she goes, "Now, when I tell you what happened, remember that I'm talking to you right now."
Right.
I'm like, that's not the way to start a phone call, Mom.
Well, God bless her. She's still talking to you.
Not a way, yes, but not a way to start. And when she told me what happened and the paramedics and the tests that were done, and in my head, I'm going, some of these, if not all of them, are from research from the American Heart Association.
Right.
And
guidelines. Yep.
Yes, exactly. Guidelines of what to do, when, and how long.
Exactly.
And, my mom has a stent, which she's had in a couple of years now. They're still trying to figure out. They found something on her heart monitor that we're looking at. But it is the guidelines. It is the testing. I feel like right now, because of the work of the Heart Association, my mom has the best, we're going to figure this out.
Right.
We're going to figure this out,
Yep.
and we're going to get through it, and we're going to know what this is.
Yep.
So it was top of mind when I went to the luncheon,
Right.
because I had just gone through,
Yeah. Oh, right at the same time. Yeah.
like 5 days earlier, and she had just finished the heart monitor, I think the day before the luncheon. So my mind was definitely in that mode of how important it is. And especially, like you said, heart disease is the number one killer of women.
Yep.
More than any other the cancers combined.
Right. And
That's startling.
Yes, but research, like you say, is really how we got there. With even knowing that, and in 2008, we were able to change our focus, really, to say, oh my gosh, look at these numbers. Look what science is telling us, that women are dying at a higher rate than men. That 1 in 3 women die of heart disease. It's too much. We could save these lives. How could we do that? We got our, great people together, and they came up with the Go Red for Women campaign. So, we know, like stents, that was developed by an American Heart Association funded researcher. CPR, open heart surgery. There's so many little things that have come along the way that have added up to really how we treat people today in terms of science and research. But the American Heart Association is the leading funder of cardiovascular disease research behind the federal government.
Yes.
So we're number 2, and it's really important to keep that funding at a high level, because we know there are great science research things that are coming along that we can't fund. So it's, that's why it's critical. So we know that research doesn't just go off into, the atmosphere and doesn't help us. It helps us locally every day that someone goes to the doctor and the doctor says, the American Heart Association says you're in the high blood pressure range, and the American Heart Association says here's what we should do about it. And then they give you medicines that are based on American Heart Association guidelines. Anybody with heart failure, or if you had a cardiac arrest, you had a heart attack, you go to the hospital, or a stroke. When you arrive and when you show up and when you say that, when they determine that you've had these illnesses, it's our guidelines that help the healthcare providers help you for the best possible outcomes. So we know it works because science is showing it. We track it. When the patient goes, we know what happens to the patient at the end. So we can say, well, this worked and that didn't work. And, over time, this many people were saved with this new treatment. Or over time, this didn't work as well as we thought. We're going to change it so that you don't waste your time, and we want to save more patients. So we know it's all working, and that does. Every dollar of research comes back to us to help every person here who has heart disease or stroke, and to prevent it, or to diagnose it earlier, or like in kids, to find out when they're babies if they have it, and to help them on the way. So
how can people donate? Like right now, I mean, I know we only have a couple minutes left, but I know the heart walks are coming up.
That's a great way to do it. Yeah, okay. And you can make a donation even if you're not walking. You can make a donation right on the site on DuchessElsterHeartWalk.org. There's a donate now button. Just click on that. And it sends right to our campaign. It'll go right towards the local dollars and the local event goal. So that's great. Likewise with the Wear Red Day, if you click on that, you can do a donate now. You can even create a page of, say you want to have a little program with your friends. You can you could create a little fundraising, they call it fundraising page for the campaigns, and you can raise the money in your own way and donate it to us, and we accept it all. Also on the heart.org page, you can go on there and make a donation as well, which goes to the overall Heart Association campaign.
I love the fact I never thought about this, and shame on me. I mean, I learned something every show, but the GoRedForWomen.org to be able to create kind of a day around it and awareness, like a heart healthy luncheon,
Yes.
you know, having some fun. Maybe you do that with your group of friends or at work, and everyone puts in $5 and they get this whole meal, which is less than what they would have probably spent someplace else.
Exactly.
Right. It's a healthy meal.
Yes.
And maybe everybody participates, and then that money's go.
Right. And then you share a picture of it online
Oh, that's cool.
with the Go Red HV tag, and then
Nice.
we know that you're sharing it with your friends. Maybe you share it with a link of Go Red for Women, and then we know that you're sharing that health information with your friends.
I like
and maybe
it.
you'll save a life. I mean, I remember so clearly a few years ago, a woman came to a DJ who talked about heart disease online on the air, and she said, "I heard you talk about the heart symptoms," and I was sitting there, and I said, "I have those symptoms." And she went to the doctor. She was having a heart attack. So we know that every time someone talks about it and raises awareness, like we're doing today on the show, thank you for having us again, we know that can help. That can help save a life. So if you share a little picture on social media, you might be saving a life. So
You
it's
don't
just
know.
that easy, right?
Yes.
It's just that
Yes.
easy to make a difference. And you don't have to leave your house.
Which is so, Carolyn, we have to wrap up. We have a minute and a half.
Okay.
I'm so bad at this timing, but there's always so much
We have a lot
to talk about.
I know, and that was just 2 months worth.
So you're going to come back. We already know that. I think we already have the date set up. So you're going to come back. So closing comments and thoughts you'd like to leave with folks this week.
So I think, like we just talked about before, heart disease and stroke are preventable illnesses. Unlike cancer, where we don't really know like why people get it. And it's an unknown. It's a scary unknown. But with heart disease and stroke, there's hope because we know how to fix that in 80% of the cases. 80% of the cases, we know how to fix it. And it's so simple, these lifestyle changes. But you really have to make a commitment to yourself, to your health, right? And to make just small, simple changes one day at a time. And no one's asking you to give up everything all at once. But, it's that important. Just talk to anybody who's had heart disease or stroke in their family and the devastation that occurs, the worry and the pain, suffering. And you'll see in their faces what you want to avoid. You'll see in their faces. So it's really about hope and just making the changes so that you can live a longer, healthier life with your loved ones and your family and do your job and, help in your community. And that will help you because if you're sick, you can't do any of it.
No.
Can't do any of it.
No, you can't. Carolyn, thank you very, very much for
Thank you.
taking the time. Thanks to all of you. Now, whatever station you're listening to this morning, you can go to their website and keyword, just put in touch. And this show, as well as other programs and other topics, will appear so you can catch all of them. If you're a nonprofit group or organization, you'd like to be on the program, here's how you can get a hold of me. Phone number 845-471-1500, extension 159. Email beth.christie@townsquaremedia.com. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. I'm there. So take care of yourself and those you love, and we'll see you right here next week.